Canadians are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. GQ Chris here for the very first time hosting an episode of The Curfew Boys here at episode 225, just about the number of games since the Leafs have been shut out. Before we jump into this, just want to remind you, if you like what you see, you want to see more, feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to see us, you can check us out on YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Absolutely. We're getting to the we're getting to the like and subscribe. You can follow us on any single one of the platforms if you want to listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're there. We've got you covered. And with that said, Joey, game 1 over and done. Montreal Canadiens 1-0 against the much hated Toronto Maple Leafs. How does that sound?
First post game from us this year, so it's just us two. The other boys went to the game. It was, to be honest, Chris, you want my honest opinion? I mean, I might not be the right person to ask, but it's shades of another, of another season. Just same type of hockey, just different season in a sense where, to me, the Habs in the second, third period got outplayed and got bailed out by the goaltender, which of course is part of the team. I'm happy. Monty got a 47 save shutout, played amazing. I thought, he's the first goalie, I think, to get a shutout in the opener since Dryden in 75. And also the Habs only had 2 shutouts all last year, and they already had 1 this year. So that has gone well. First period went well. Habs, I think, had a good period, but I wouldn't say they dominated the Leafs. I thought they kept up. It's the second and third period, which we've seen time and time again, they haven't. The power play gave me a little bit of false hope because the first 2 were great, and then the rest, including the 5-on-3, which we never scored last year, wasn't good at all. So I had a little bit of false hope on it, and yeah, it's just shades of a game when we used to have Carey Price. That's how I felt with the first game. But again, it's very early signs. It's only the first game of the season. I'm happy though we won. So I'll pass it back to you, Chris. I want to know your thoughts on this game.
Well, I'm not quite ready to receive the pass, so I'm going to shoot it right back at you with a question. Do you not think that the Canadiens could have scored more goals? Do you think that they were just not opportunistic, or they just weren't firing on all cylinders in terms of their shooting?
Certainly in the first period, they could have. That first power play, the 5-on-3 was an opportunity, but I don't think there was much in that 5-on-3 power play, like actual chances. But they did have, they certainly had chances. Now, if you want my honest opinion, I think the Leafs had at least just as much, if not more. So both teams could not score besides the Caulfield scoring in the first period. So yeah, they had their chances to score more. I just my big worry has been what's going to be of line 2, 3, and 4. And to be quite honest, there wasn't much of it besides Kirby Dach. So the rest of it just never stand out. And I found they struggled with a lot of defensive zone time at times when it shouldn't have been.
Yeah, at the end of the game was definitely stressful. I thought the Leafs, you said it so well, that there were some shades of previous years, and I don't want to say collapse because it wasn't. If they would have lost a 1-goal lead, it's a 1-goal lead. It's not like a 2-3 goal lead. But I still think that the Canadiens did a far better job defensively in comparison to what they're used to. Obviously, let's throw Monty and even Stolarz some serious credit. I think they both had outstanding games. They both had some real great saves on one-time shots from the slot. That was fantastic. Just so fitting that Caulfield scores the first goal of the season, donning the number 13. So happy to see that. So happy to have Doc back. Like you said, he was good. But I'm gonna go a step further. I think after being as critical as we were, I thought Yoel Armia didn't look completely out of place on the second line. I thought he did well.
Worse.
Pardon me?
There certainly was worse than Armia.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a couple of our players got caught with their, like Heineman got caught once or twice. The game seemed just a little bit faster for him in comparison than what he seemed to bring in the preseason. But I mean, hey, even Gallagher had a shot there, so that's saying something. All in all, yeah, I wish the Canadiens scored more, but I'm gonna go back to the fact of what I said in the intro jokingly is it's been 227 games since the Maple Leafs have been shut out. So as boring as it was in a certain sense, there are two standouts. Number one is I thought they played a lot more as a unit. I'm going to actually do a 1B in terms of playing as a unit. The power play, the movement on the power play was far
Certainly
better at
better.
the beginning of
Yeah.
the game. I still wish that Lane Hudson is going to come on board and switch Mike Matheson. Question of time. Um, but number three, it's just again they don't like the fact that the Montreal Canadiens, a young team, was the first team in 227 games. That means they have played every single team since then. The Leafs have played every single team. This Montreal Canadiens youth core shut out this team for the first time in that amount of games. I think, to me, that's saying something. That's going to be my takeaway. And hats off to Sam Montembeault. Hell of a game. Anthony was asking me to mention the stat. They kind of said it in the interview between Renaud Lavoie and Montembeault at the end of the game. The first goaltender to have a shutout in an opening game since 1975, and
Yeah,
the
Dryden,
goalie
like
in
I mentioned.
question,
Yeah, Ken Dryden.
Ken Dryden.
Yeah.
I guess I'm in the twilight zone here.
No,
All that to
definitely.
say,
I wanted to add to that, Chris, before you ended off. Hats off to Montembeault. I will say, although they gave up 47 shots, I found the second opportunity of rebounds and the dangerous areas for where these shots came in, there wasn't a second or third, which a lot of times lead to goals. So they did very well to clean that up. Now, they do have to do better at controlling the puck and obviously allowing less shots in general, but at least second and third attempts and second, third chances, they cleaned up very well tonight. I will give them that defensively.
yeah, yeah, I actually, great point. I really love that. Even again, at times, the younger defensemen like Justin Barron, I can't recall of him making a single mistake in the game. Arbor passed, I think one time, passed the puck. I think one time a little too hard, went down to the ice for an icing call. But on the overall, like the errors were very limited. And then if ever there was an opening, I mean, they caught up very, very quickly. So all in all, look, guys, let's call it, I don't want to say a perfect defensive game, but just a perfect game as a unit. One element complemented the other. When they needed a goal, I guess they got their goal. When they needed to hold off the goal, the defense and the goaltending put together held it off. Maybe the weight is a little bit imbalanced towards who did what and more. But all in all, just going to be a very happy sentiment going into tomorrow. I feel like it's been years since we've beat the Leafs in the season opener.
Been
On
a
to
while.
Boston tomorrow. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but this has the potential, if they can repeat something like they did tonight, no matter how unentertaining it is for the little amount of goals, if they can do this again tomorrow night, it's going to be one hell of a rewarding beginning of the season. That much I can say.
Yeah, definitely, Chris. Look, we'll take a win as whatever way we can. Obviously, we want the Habs to shine a little more, especially that they have the youth, they have the legs in them. They should have the legs in them, especially at the start of the season to control more of the game, and hopefully they do as games go on. As you know, the younger guys get experience. Guys like Lane Hudson, who he had a really nice little skit part where he went by Tavares a few times, so get him more involved. And obviously, we're missing a guy like Laney. Having him on the 5-on-3 would have made a massive difference, because I didn't realize that 5-on-3 stat that Montreal didn't even score one last year is kind of
Really?
yeah. They said it on the broadcasting. Usually I know, and I just never thought of it. They said that Montreal didn't score on a 5-on-3 last year, unless I heard wrong. But if they did score on a 5-on-3, it wasn't many, because I don't remember many that they scored last year. So. And yeah, they need to capitalize on those opportunities. But we did mention, and I was concerned, and I don't think they did a good job in one area, was staying out of the box. Neither did the Leafs, but Montreal, both teams, you can tell it's early days. Neither of them were able to stay out of the box. But somehow we ended up with a 1-0 score. So, hey, I'll take it. And we just move. Now we got to move on to Boston.
Absolutely. Just before we get into the next segment, if you will, put Sam Montembeault aside. I think rightfully so deserves that first star. Who are your other, like, if you had a top 5 standouts and maybe one or two players that you were disappointed with? 5 is a lot. Maybe top
Yeah,
3, top 3
it's a
players
lot.
outside. That's a lot. I'm sorry.
You know what? I know you hate him, but I thought Matheson was very stout in all areas. I think tonight he put in a lot of minutes for the team, and I think he did solid work. I got to give one to him, Montembeault. It's hard. It's really hard to pick. Maybe give one to Cole because he scored, or you can maybe say Doc or Slavkovsky because I thought they had some good chances and they have made some good plays. Defensively, I mean, you know what? I shit on the guy sometimes, but I thought Savard was in the right areas a lot. Like, it's very hard to choose because there's no one that really stood out. But after Montembeault, the only one I can really say is Matheson. And for disappointment, honestly, Chris, the whole third and fourth line just whatever. Maybe a little bit besides Evans, the whole third and fourth line to me was disappointing. I thought they were largely outplayed. I'm sorry, just something that's going to worry me for the games to come. But they were the disappointing ones for me.
I just want to clarify before I give you my opinion on a few players here. I just do not like Matheson
On the power
on
play,
the first power play.
I get it.
I'm a little bit worried about some of his decisions that he makes, but on the overall, like I think he is such an asset for this team. And I want to be clear. I was pissed off, especially one game last year when he made a pinch that I didn't think he was supposed to be making. But I mean, you gotta take the player for what he is. If he's gonna race up and have some spectacular goals and spectacular plays, well, he's bound to screw up here and there. But like even Mike Matheson as a leader, uh, let's say this as a joke, but not really. Max Pacioretty was one of the most average Habs captains there were, and I'd say Mike Matheson is a better leader than Pacioretty ever was already as it stands. So, I mean, those are harsh words towards Pacioretty, but again, argument to be made that maybe he was one of the factors that got Subban out of town. Anyways, not for tonight. The one player that I want to add to your list, Alex Newhook. Alex Newhook had a few pretty nice rushes, plays, dangles here and there. So I thought I thought he did a pretty good job there as well. We'll see where it goes. Let's hope for more of the same tomorrow, just with a little bit more goals for our account. Curious to know before we get into the next segment, does Monty start tomorrow?
I think so. After 47 save shutout, I don't think they bench him. Sorry, Kate.
He's not too tired. Back and back. It's the first game of the season, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
47 game season, 47 save shutout, Chris. I don't know how you just say, hey, sit on the bench tomorrow. I can't see that.
You disgust me, Sam. Sit down. You don't have your place on the ice tonight.
Yeah.
No. So, fans, we made a promise to you. The one thing was we're going to try to be as present as much as possible, especially after games against our rivals. We're happy to give a little breakdown of the game, even though there wasn't too much that went down. That said, we also promised that we wanted to bring you guys in as much as possible. So, I mean, with that said, we'd like to get back to some of your reactions, your questions. We'd like to tackle some of them. So I'll go through a handful of them, and I guess for the next, we'll keep it as short and sweet as possible. But let's definitely get you guys involved and see what you had to say, and maybe see if there were certain elements of the game that you brought or will bring out that we have completely skipped over. So, without further ado, we'll start with Dawes Garage. Dawes Garage says, Monty, the boys look ready, but Monty balled out to help us get the win, but the D looked G, or looks G. Are you in agreement with that? I mean, maybe I'm getting old, but I'm having a hard time reading that, and the expressions are maybe going a little bit over my head. But to my understanding, it's Monty looked great. The D looked great.
Yeah.
Was there to support, and they definitely looked ready. They came out flying. that much I can say. The first 10 minutes of the game, my expectations, we're thinking back to the episode that we released yesterday, and we're talking about what the expectations for the team were going to be. The Habs played like they did in the first 10 minutes for the rest of the season. Honestly, we'd be staring at a wonderful, wonderful season ahead of us. Joey, second question. I think this has to go to you. This is coming in from Roma 1487. He says, no question, but they need to unleash Hudson.
Yeah, absolutely. We said in our breakdown, right, that we don't know why he's not on the first power play unit. That's one way of unleashing Hudson. They need to just put him on that first power play unit. What he played with Savard is a good role. I mean, he played good minutes, but to unleash him, he's got to be on power play number 1. Very straightforward. No other way to sugarcoat this.
Yeah, free lane Hudson, unleash the beast. Want to see him on the power play. Just maybe add a small touch. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, we'll see if it'll translate to the NHL level." Hey, first game playing against some of the top forwards in the league. I think that's a fair statement. He held his own, looked good, didn't look out of place, and was able to pull off the same kind of moves that we saw him pull off at the end of last season and in the training camp. So no worries there for Lane, and it's a question of time before his time starts to skyrocket. Third, Rafiq. I know him personally. Good friend from school. He's got a couple of these. Rafiq, we're going to jump to your questions in intervals, but Rafiq is asking what our thoughts are on the player intros. He says he's missing the passing of the torch. What do you think, Joey?
I think the Habs are just trying to like move on and start a new chapter, which is why I don't think they brought back the torch. I just think they're trying to just go something new. I don't think you should always keep things over and over. It reminds me of the goal song that they always have that we like the most. I think it's Lore. That's the most famous one where everyone wanted it back. Yeah, that's Lore. That's how they. I think that's the name of it. But at a certain point, they just moved on from it. I think it's the same thing with the torch. I just think they're just starting a new chapter. So they just turn the page. That's how I see it.
So this was my gut feel. Let's say you're the Habs. You're the Habs. You have to come out with a new ceremony. I thought the ceremony was super classy. Very nice that they played Fix You with the one of
they
the
love Fix You. That building. They love Fix You. They always play it.
It was beautiful. Again, top notch, classy, just like it's typical Montreal class when it comes to hockey. But that said, my question to you is, Joey, let's say you are working in marketing for the Montreal Canadiens. In this year, you're likely going to be in the mix, so to say, for just making it to playoffs. Do you not think that they're saving their best ideas? Like the feeling that came to me was, do you not think that they're going to be saving some of their best ideas for the years where they're going to be really dominant, and they're going to, you really want to get the fans involved. You really want to like sell that hope that, okay, this might be the year. I don't think we're there yet. So
future
I'm not going to say it
thinking,
was a
Chris.
letdown. Pardon me?
Future thinking. I didn't even think of that. I just think they think of it year by year. I don't think they try to think that far ahead, but I could be wrong, to be quite honest.
That's my marketing and sales thought. I mean, if somebody came up with a handful of ideas, I'm pretty sure they were just tucked away, locked in a box, put in the back of one of the offices in the Bell Center, and it'll be unleashed. I'm telling you.
That's why you work in marketing and you're an expert at it, Chris, and I work in tech, so totally different field. I don't think of that future part of it, I guess.
Marketing, sales, selling hope. They're selling
hope, exactly.
Meds of hope. They're selling like so hope right now. Okay, before we get stuck on this question, Chris, 961, great name. Chris asks, was Armia a good fit for Kirby and Newhook tonight?
He didn't look out of place, but he didn't look like the best fit. So he was, like you said, meds and meds. He was half-half. He was all right. We could do better. We could do worse. I don't think we could have done better tonight in a sense where, to me, the way the bottom two lines played didn't really fill myself with hope. So I thought Armia was the best fit for tonight. But in general, of course, if we want to be a competing team, it's got to be better than Armia, and he's got to slot down.
I agree. I think we said it as a group yesterday that who would be the guy to replace Armia in between time waiting for Line to come back, and we said the only other guy that we would stand out like a sore thumb right now would be Josh Anderson, and I don't think Josh Anderson outplayed Armia tonight. So I think
There is
Armia
one
had
guy
a
though,
place.
Chris.
Well, it's Kapanen. I think
No,
no.
not even. Someone's got to go to Russia. Tell Demidov to get off
Um,
the fourth line of his team in Russia.
his
And
ice time needs to fucking go up, otherwise
yeah,
Kent and Jeff have to rescue him. I agree.
yeah. So go get him back and say, hey, you got second line minutes here. That's the guy.
That would be that. Now that's what you call selling hope. Now that's what you call
That's
getting
selling hope.
fucking excitement back to. I mean, not that it wasn't exciting, but it's just going to be that much more. Going on, let's go to Matteo Di Loreto. He says, Alex Barre-Boulet has been great so far. Plays with heart. Agree?
You know what? I said the two lines were disappointing, but I think he's right. If there's one person that looked all right, I'm just saying in general, the line didn't look great, but individually, I thought Barre-Boulet didn't do too bad. He had some decent moments. I'll give him that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a fair analogy. I think you compare him to like a Heineman type player, and he definitely looked a step above Heineman tonight. So
I do
yeah,
want to see Kapanen though eventually.
yes, oh yeah, yeah. I definitely think that Kapanen is going to be a notch above those guys, and soon. Going on back to Rafik, he said the power play scored a goal after going goalless the whole preseason. Positive sign or too early to tell?
Too early to tell because they had two tremendous power plays at the beginning, and then the rest of their power plays were not great. And what did they have in the end? Six, I think, 6, 7.
I think they had 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So
So the first two looked great. The rest, including the 5-on-3, did not look good at all. So
yeah,
it's too
yeah,
early to
no.
tell in my eyes.
Yeah, I hated the 5. Honestly, Rafik, my answer to that question is I had hope. I was really enjoying what I was seeing. And then they got the 5-on-3, and I am withdrawing that hope for the moment. If they're not going to be moving around, like physically moving around on the ice like they were in the first two power plays, don't get your hopes up. The one thing that I'll say on the flip side, I don't think there were any questions on this. So I do want to say that the penalty kill was way better. They didn't play this tiny box in front of the net. They actually took up a little bit more space. They covered their guys that much better. So we might have a little bit more hope and optimism immediately going towards the
I
PK. So
hated that
special
tiny
teams.
box. When they used to play that tiny box and just invite the blue liners to shoot last year, it used to drive me insane.
Mm.
Just to hate
If
it.
Exactly. If you have a guy who's good enough to shoot from the point and just aim for the open space because that tiny box ain't covering shit,
Exactly.
game over. All right. Rafik again. Is it just me, or was the energy on ice from the team? Was the energy on the ice from the team felt way better than last year? I apologize for the grammar, Rafik. You might have missed that, but we get the message. How's the energy feel in comparison? I don't think we have to read too much into it. I thought it was just, it's the first game of the season. It's against one of your biggest rivals. They're going to show up no matter what. And yeah, it was. I think it was also kind of fun. It was the first game of the season and one of the first games of the season that was actually played at home for the Montreal Canadiens. So, Rafik, I don't think it was that hard for the guys to be riled up and ready
Chris,
to go for this one.
the biggest hope any team will have is on the first game of the season. So if there's a game to be energized and hopeful, it's that game. So it's, again, you got to look Montreal to see their energy this season by game 30, 40, 50, not by game 1.
Yeah. I completely agree. Jesse 67 Cowboy. We definitely didn't like that 67 on the Leafs tonight. Kind of felt betrayed that he was playing for them. But going back to Jesse, it's not about us. It's not about our opinions. Jesse says, to your point, Joey, Liney was definitely missed tonight, especially with all those power plays and particularly the 5-on-3.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's you know what, Chris, you said about marketing and what they do. They sell you false hope. Well, that's what the Canadians did on those power plays. We were definitely missing. I agree with Jesse. We were desperately missing Line on the 5-on-3 and just all of our power plays in total because we looked good the first two and we didn't look good the rest. So for me, that power play still needs to get better. And yeah, I haven't seen too many changes, but again, it's early days. I do want the drop pass to stop, but that will never happen. It's engraved in their blood. I think it's like when every coach gets fired and the next coach comes in, if there's one thing that's passed off to them, it's like a tradition or something. Is the you have to drop the puck on the power play. That's how I see it.
I can't stand the puck drop. I really, really, really cannot. But I have to say, like just on the flip side of things, I genuinely thought Alex Burrows was sitting at home for those first two power plays. I thought Alex Burrows was sitting at home sweating and going like, I am never going to get a job and never operate or draw up a power play
No, just
plan
draw
for
a
the
power
rest of
play.
my
Yeah,
life.
he can do
Yeah,
something
that
else.
was a big one there. Um, Gordo Habs and Vithersan, they're asking questions similarly to what have been asked before. So Gordo Habs says, "Would you put Lane Hudson on the first power play after this game? We would have put him on we would have put him on the first unit. Joey and I would have absolutely loved to have had him on the first power play since the end of last season."
I would have taken out of college last year and put him on the first power play. So that's so you know my answer. So yes, of course.
Yeah, yeah, Gordo. The answer is a resounding yes, and the answer is yesterday. Um, Vithersan again going back. He says, What did you think of the opening ceremony?" So maybe just a little bit more in depth, not for overkill, but I did. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was like anything magical. They also had they had uh, it looked like Guy Lapointe in the crowd, seriously, but talking about how was it just I don't want to say it was corny. I don't want to say it was bad. It was very classy, especially with the orchestra, but it was simple. It was very, very, very simple. There was no like. Do you remember when Ken Dryden came out with the torch and handed it to Carey Price, and you're like, "Oh, holy shit!" Okay, it's like it's Price's time to like. It was missing that for me. It was missing that magic element. It was missing that something special, and that's why I'm saying that torch is probably it's a question of time. That fucking torch is coming back out. Mark my words. But that torch is going to be handed, I think, more than ever. That torch is going to be handed when the direction of the organization, the head office, as well as some of the old the alumni are going to feel that this group is ready to go. And I appreciate that. That might also be a question of a pressure. Like you're going to say, what does a torch have to do with putting pressure on a young team? Well, uh, from failing hands, we pass the torch for you to hold it high. Like for you to hold it high, this team is only ready to hold it three quarters of the way up. Like they're not, they're not fully ready for it. So maybe that
Exactly.
torch is going to be passed on when they are truly ready to hold it high. That's the best analogy I could give.
And you can tell, Chris, that not many people are happy with the ceremony and the introduction because look at our questions. We had a few of them ask about it. I think people were disappointed. Not that it was bad. I'm just saying the general outlook was it's not what they expected. That's my opinion. That's what I see.
You know what? I love that, and I'll go a step further. How many times in a given year are they going to have one of the Montreal-based orchestras, one of the city's best orchestras, come in and play the national anthem? In all honesty, other than the players skating out individually, that is going to potentially be very similar to something that just happens naturally later on this season. So
Right.
nothing really overwhelmingly
But
special, unique that hits you in the feels. Um,
But if I can
Yeah.
leave off a comment with it, I mean, personally, in the end, give me the 2 points. I don't care about presentation. So give me the 2 points. I'll take the 2 points any day. Habs can have the worst presentations for the next 10 years, but you tell me they win a few cups, I don't think anyone complains.
Exactly that. Exactly that. And look, Joey, what do you say? We keep it 1-0, just like the score. We don't overkill this post
No,
game analysis. We enjoy it. We go savor it. We go listen to some of the player reactions as they're coming out just about now. We leave it for tomorrow, guys. Get some rest. On to Boston tomorrow. Love that game, Montreal Boston in Boston. Those savage blue collar fans of theirs. That arena is always rocking. I got to give it to them. And contrary to Toronto, as we always said, there is a definitive respect for the Bruins, but they're still our rivals, and we still got to bring it to them tomorrow.
we have
Arbor. I mean, you know what? Maybe one remark before tomorrow comes along. I hope Mike Pizzetta is in the lineup. He always has a great game for some reason against Boston. He's always like potting a goal or two.
Kapanen. That's what I want tomorrow.
Yeah, you sold me, Coach Joey. Coach Joey, you got me. You got me on the bandwagon.
Well, I'm the coach supposedly after yesterday's episode, so I'm the couch coach.
My question to the fans, and please answer in the comments: do we want Joey as a coach because you feel his anger and rage, and you want to see that passion behind the bench, or is it because of the strategic moves? That's guys.
Both.
We want to hear your opinion.
It's got to be both.
If it's both, hey, if it's both, all the better. All the better. Joey, let me give you the last word, if anything.
I would just say I'm surprised by tonight's result, not because Montreal won, more because Montreal-Toronto tends to have high-scoring games, especially first games of the year. They tend to be more mistakes. You're getting your legs back into the game, fully 2-game season, but we saw a lot of surprises, and who knows? Hopefully they'll surprise me because I predict them out of playoffs. Maybe they'll surprise me this season.
I hope so. My God, I hope so. And talking about having a good season, let's wish our boys all the very best. Let's hope for another, although impossible, let's hope for another 81 of these. 81 of these victories. They'll never score on the Habs again, and we'll win. I think it would be a little bit rough to go 1-0 the whole season, but nevertheless, I take it. Joey, go Habs, go. Wishing all of us fans a wonderful season. Wishing Hudson a very, very, very quick detour to the first power play unit. And until maybe tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, seems to be rivalry week. We're going to enjoy this, and we'll definitely be back soon. So until next time.
Bye now.
Bye now.
Good night.